Roger Stone Show. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
So, Sheriff Gregory Tony, Sheriff of Broward County, I think the largest sheriff's department in the state of Florida with a multi-million, almost $1 billion budget, says that his officers will not assist ICE in their arrests and deportation efforts for illegals. Let's listen to Sheriff Tony.
What I refuse to do is take this notion that we need to be knocking on doors or arresting children or going into daycare centers or restaurants and taking and snatching people off these streets. It's not within our purview. It's not within our responsibility, and I won't participate in it.
Now, the problem with that is that Governor Ron DeSantis, who is the man who appointed Gregory Tony to the office of sheriff when there was a vacancy after the Parkland shooting, says that he'll remove peace officers who do not cooperate with ICE, and he's made illegal immigration a centerpiece of his current term. Let's listen to Governor DeSantis.
You got people that come here without authorization and they go out and try to loot the place. Give me a break. Those people need to be sent back immediately. So this will end up helping the overall situation, even apart from immigration. Now, the accountability is significant. If those duties are clear in law, I have the authority with respect to certain officials to suspend them from their office if they are neglecting their duties, and that's a authority that I have invoked.
So DeSantis has said repeatedly that any local official, including sheriffs, who refuse to cooperate with ICE under Florida's immigration enforcement policy would be suspended or removed. In March 2025, he said, if these local governments are not being part of the solution, we've got a lot of tools, including suspension from office, that we can do right now. Here to help us break this down is Russ Perna. Russ retired from the New York Police Department on September 11, 2001. He was assisting in the evacuation of the South Tower when the second plane struck the building. He served with honor in the U.S. Marine Corps and the U.S. Navy Reserve. He holds a master's degree in political science with a concentration in Middle Eastern studies from Florida Atlantic University, or college, I should say. He attended the Institute for Counterterrorism at Reichman University in Herzliya, Israel, where he received a graduate certificate on counterterrorism. He also holds a bachelor's degree in history from FAU. And he was, in his past, he was the chief executive officer of the Broward County Sheriff's Office. Russ, welcome to the Roger Stone Show.
Roger, it's an honor to be here on your show today.
Look, Gregory Tony's tenure as sheriff has been anything but smooth. 3 separate investigations, the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, the State Ethics Committee, and a State Senate committee investigated the sheriff, and they all recommended that he be terminated. That controversy swirls around the fact that when he was appointed sheriff, he did not disclose that in Philadelphia, where he had moved from, he'd been tried for both murder and for drug dealing. He was acquitted on murder with a self-defense defense, although the Florida Bulldog, a left-of-center media outlet, has done an excellent analysis to question that result. So, Russ, what's going on here?
Well, I'd like to touch on the illegal immigration protocols and trajectory of Greg Tony in a minute, but let's go to Sheriff Tony's past. We all know he replaced Sheriff Scott Israel in January of 2019 on the abrupt removal by Governor DeSantis. Whether you could say that was justified or not, that's already been discussed. But within a short period of time, troubling revelations about Tony's past emerged, and they were very egregious. He had fatally shot a teenager in 1993, but he concealed this nefarious activity of LSD use when applying to the Coral Springs Police Department, where he was first employed as a law enforcement officer. And he reportedly provided false information on multiple law enforcement applications. Tony built his career on lies, violence, and manipulation. I don't think, not only police departments, I don't think any company in the entire country would have hired him in any capacity. So murder, identity fraud, perjury, multiple state and federal investigations, ethical violations, workplace violence, stolen valor. We also could look at the pro-left Black Lives Matter politics, his association with a radical Islamic mosque, and his epic mismanagement of the state's largest sheriff's office budget. But here's the problem. Governor DeSantis wasn't offered Tony's altered version of events before considering his appointment. When he was asked about the shooting incident, it would compel him to remove Tony. But he was very defensive, and he echoed the sheriff's unconvincing words, I guess you could say. They did a background check, and DeSantis has been defending him in every step of the way. Ultimately, the decision can be made, the governor added, it's not going to be anything I'm going to get involved in, he said, when all this nefarious activity was exposed. And he said he wasn't going to get involved in it. He said it was up to the voters to decide. Well, I want to discuss the granularity of this would just take too long, and it would probably consume more than the 30 minutes that we're here for today. But it seems as if Greg Tony skirts the law and in every step of the way, in every step of the imagination. So I would like to recommend to your listeners to go on to the Miami Independent. It's an online news source. They are running 7 consecutive articles on Greg Tony. The first 2 have already been published, and it outlines, again, the granularity of his nefarious and egregious and criminal activity that the governor has completely ignored. A state panel and commission recommended he be removed from office, and to this day, Governor DeSantis does nothing.
My view here, of course, is that when Tony was appointed, he was actually a registered Republican. He quickly switched and became a Democrat. He won a Democrat primary and was therefore reelected. That does not obviate his many crimes. This statement is about politics. It's about staying as governor. I don't think that Governor DeSantis, for whatever reason, will remove him, even though 3 separate state investigations have recommended exactly that. But I will say this, if Casey DeSantis, his wife, runs for governor as is expected, I do think that she will be held responsible for Gregory Tony's record. She's going to be asked in the Republican primary whether she would adhere to the 3 recommendations that he be dismissed. You're right, this is more than we could possibly do in an hour, never mind 30 minutes. And I want to get back to the larger question of immigration and what the sheriff is doing there. If you're just tuning in, we're talking to Russ Perna, former New York Police Department veteran, also retired Marine Corps lieutenant. Let me start over again. Also served in the United States Marine Corps and in the U.S. Navy Reserve. Very impressed with the fact that you attended the Institute for Counterterrorism at Reichman University in Israel, where you received a graduate certificate of counterterrorism. And that's really where I want to go. You see these riots, Russ. This is very reminiscent to what we saw in 2020. It's the same exact playbook. The left is already trying to tell us this is grassroots. This is just a reaction to the policies of Donald Trump. When we come back, I want to analyze that and see if what we know today about the 2020 riots and what we see unfolding before our very eyes in Los Angeles, is this the same tactic? Are these the same people? And does it have the same goal? If you're just tuning in, folks, this is The Roger Stone Show. We're talking to Russ Perna, a former NYPD officer, former executive officer of the Broward County Sheriff's Office, a proud veteran of the U.S. Marine Corps and the U.S. Navy Reserve. Wherever you do, don't touch that dial, because we'll be right back with more of the inside scoop in Florida politics, as well as what's going on in Washington.
The Roger Stone Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Meta AI is the personal AI that's tailored to you, now with its very own app. It's built to get to know you, offering helpful answers and inspiration. Looking for something to add to your bucket list? Meta AI goes beyond traveling the world. It remembers you're a basketball fanatic and suggests you attend one of the playoff games. Just start typing or speaking to get the answers you need, wherever and whenever, because Meta AI is your personal AI. Download the Meta AI app, now available on the Apple App Store and Google Play.
Imagine this: the best pasta sauce you have ever tasted sits abandoned on a plate. Wasted sauce. That is a tragedy. If only you had used Barilla al Bronzo pasta. Its bronze-cut texture holds your sauce and scoops up every last drop. The Italians call that scarpetta. Capture sauce the Italian way. Barilla al Bronzo. Click or tap the banner to find out more.
Americans love using their credit cards, the most secure and hassle-free way to pay. But D.C. politicians want to change that with the Durbin-Marshall credit card bill. This bill lets corporate megastores pick how your credit card is processed, allowing them to use untested payment networks that jeopardize your data security and rewards. Corporate megastores will make more money, and you pay the price. Tell Congress to guard your card, because Americans lose when politicians choose. Learn more at guardyourcard.com.
The Roger Stone Show. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
And we're back on the Roger Stone Show. We're talking to Russ Perna. Russ was born and raised in Commack, Long Island. He, as I said, was a New York City police officer as well as an executive officer of the Broward County Sheriff's Department, served in the United States Marine Corps as well as the U.S. Navy Reserves. He holds a master's degree in political science with a concentration on Middle Eastern studies from Florida Atlantic University, and he attended the Institute for Counterterrorism at Reichman University in Israel, where he received a graduate certificate in counterterrorism. His bachelor's degree is in history, also comes from Florida Atlantic University. Russ, if you look at what's unfolding in Los Angeles, I cannot help but be reminded of what precisely happened here in this country in 2020. In the aftermath of the George Floyd incident, you had 19 confirmed deaths. 25 people, according to congressional record, died in violent riots nationwide. In Chicago's protests, there were 15 fatalities alone. In Minneapolis, St. Paul, 2 deaths occurred between May and June of 2020. Chicago also saw 284 police officers injured during the unrest. The injuries include 2,000 police officers. Chicago recorded 284 police injuries. But where the really gets stunning is the property damage. Nationwide, insured property damage estimates range from $1.5 to $2 billion, meaning these protests, for which no one has been prosecuted and put in jail, cost the taxpayers literally billions of dollars. I think at that juncture, I thought Donald Trump was being tested. He elected to follow the advice to let the governors handle it, and the governors didn't handle it. I think if you saw anything out of Los Angeles, the president's not going to make that error again. He was very quick to order the National Guard into Los Angeles in order to preserve order. Russ, what is your thinking?
Yes, absolutely. I think President Trump learned his lesson. It was a quick reaction. Justified mobilizing the National Guard. Reminds me in the late 60s when Reagan did it in California. But there's more to this, Roger. This is a reminiscent of Black Lives Matter. There's more to these protests. And this is something else that Tony is immersed in very questionable activity. When we go back to 2020 and we look at the protests, I'm going to cite 2 examples. Black Lives Matter, and this is all comes to the anti-Semitism that's raging in this country. Now, I'm going to give you a little example. In 1967, my father gave a lecture on in a local college on Long Island, and he spoke. This is 1967, and he spoke about the rampant and pervasive and systemic anti-Semitism in the State Department, United Nations, and academia. What we're seeing is not a recent revelation. During the riots in 2020, there was a BLM marched in Los Angeles and vandalized synagogues and temples. Had nothing to do with Black lives. And in fact, the attack on the community was vicious and criminal. The city council member, Paul Koretz, the district's current city councilman at the time, his biggest argument was, where he was so incensed, was that the media didn't cover it. Then you go to Washington, D.C. in the summer of 2020, and they were marching again against Israel. There's a great book written by Mike Gonzalez, BLM, The Making of a New Marxist Revolution. BLM even has a foreign policy supporting divestment and sanctions, which is a movement against Israel. I think this is all part of this anti-Semitism movement that is gaining momentum. And it was very important that President Trump sent that National Guard in there and to stop these riots immediately. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because Greg Tony, led by his executive officer, his name is Munib Ahmad, went outside the public safety building and took a knee in solidarity with BLM. Now, I don't know what you call that or how you could define that, but for a head of a law enforcement agency the size of Broward County, the third largest sheriff's office in the country, how you can go out and align yourself with a self-proclaimed Marxist. That's their website. That's not my words. Those are their words. An organization who espouses anti-Semitism. Here's the question. Where is Governor DeSantis? Where is he? This stuff, it's almost like Tony is thumbing his nose at Governor DeSantis. And when you talk about the immigration, you played a clip that he said he's not going to enforce immigration. Okay, there was a quote there. He said, where was it? Tony said, he goes, we have other priorities in this county, and illegal immigration is not one of them. We know many of these immigrants are coming from Middle Eastern countries and countries in Africa. Okay? I don't care about what country they come from. If you commit a crime in this country, I'm coming for you, but not if you're an illegal immigrant. So what is he waiting for? He's going to wait for one of these illegal immigrants to commit an egregious, heinous crime before he pursues them? So he's aligned himself with one of the most radical organizations in the country and in the world, because BLM is also in Europe, and now he's not attempting to arrest people that potentially can pose a threat to this country and the county. One more thing. Most of the immigrants, Florida is top 3 where most of the illegal immigrants are coming. The port of entry in Miami is the largest port of entry for illegal immigrants in the country. Again, where is Ron DeSantis when it comes to Greg Tony? Nowhere to be found.
Yeah, as I said earlier, I think the only place this is going to end up being adjudicated is in the Republican primary for governor. I think the front runner there is Congressman Byron Donalds. Clearly, the First Lady, Casey DeSantis, has made noises about challenging him, although I don't know what her qualifications to be governor are. But I expect the future of Gregory Tony to be very much an issue in that primary. For whatever reason, the governor doesn't want to listen to these various investigations that have recommended the sheriff's termination. Afraid we have to leave it there. I want to thank Russ Perna for joining us today. Coming up, Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna has sponsored legislation to add the image of Donald Trump to Mount Rushmore, and a South Dakota man has taken that and run with it. He's launched a grassroots effort to have Donald Trump join Roosevelt, Washington, Jefferson, and Lincoln on Mount Rushmore. We're going to tell you all about that when we come back. You're listening to The Roger Stone Show. Please don't go away, because we'll be right back.
The Roger Stone Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.